Now there are three types of oppositions. One is known as the horizontal opposition. Two is known as the vertical opposition. And three is known as the diagonal opposition. Hello there, and today we are going to talk about a very interesting topic: chess opposition. What is opposition, when to use it, how to use it, and types of opposition. So this concept of opposition, it's a very vast concept, and that's the reason I'm going to divide it into two parts. So first part, I'm just going to introduce you to the concept of opposition. What exactly is this opposition? What does it mean? When is it used? What are the types of oppositions, and so on. And the second part is about how exactly to practically use algorithms in your chess games. So with that, let us go to the chessboard and let's get started with the concept of opposition. So before we understand how to practically use this concept of opposition in a real game, first let's try to understand what exactly is this concept of opposition. What does it mean? What are the types of opposition, and everything that you need to know? I'm going to explain you right now in this video. So first of all, opposition is an endgame concept. Opposition is an endgame concept where there is one square between the king. Now listen to me carefully, this is very important. There is one square between the king and the side which makes a move is at a loss. So for example, right now there is one square between the two kings. Now if it is white to play right now, then I can say white is at a loss. If it is black to play right now, then black is at a loss. Now right now you may say, but Heramb, the position in front of me is a draw. I understand, but this is for an example purpose. How to use it in a practical game, we'll see that later. But first, just focus on the topic and try to understand the concept that I'm teaching you. So whenever there is one square between the two kings, the kings are like this, then the side which is to move is at a loss. So let's say this is the white king. If white king has to move, white is at a loss. If black king has to move, then black is at a loss. Clear? Is this sinking in till now? Good. Now, what exactly are the types of oppositions? Now there are three types of oppositions. One is known as the horizontal opposition. Two is known as the vertical opposition. And three is known as the diagonal opposition. So what does horizontal opposition mean? What does vertical opposition mean? And what does diagonal opposition mean? I'm going to explain you right now. Okay, so let's come to the horizontal opposition first. Now what is horizontal opposition? As the name suggests, the kings are like this, and now the side which moves is at a loss. This is true for all three of the oppositions. For the vertical opposition, for the horizontal opposition, and also the diagonal opposition. So for the horizontal opposition, if let's say the white king moves, we can say white is at a loss. If the black king moves, then black is at a loss. Now you may ask me, but Heramb, why if the white king moves, white is at a loss? Why if the black king moves, black is at a loss? I will explain that in the next video when we learn how to use the concept of opposition practically. However, for now, just stick to this. So if the king moves, if the white king moves, then white is at a loss. If the black king moves, then black is at a loss. Now this is the horizontal opposition. The vertical opposition is what we saw earlier. I will show you it one more time. So as we saw earlier, this is the vertical opposition. The kings are like this. There is one square between the king. Again, the rule is the same. The side which has to move is at a loss. So if it's white to move, white is at a loss. If it's black to move, then black is at a loss. And this type of opposition, that is the vertical opposition, this is the most famous, or I can say this is the most used opposition. Whenever you get a king and pawn endgame, or whenever two kings are fighting for the center in the endgame, then this opposition, this type of opposition is very much used in all the games. So this is the most popular opposition, I can say, when it comes to using the concept of oppositions. So that's the second thing. Now let's go to the third type, that is the diagonal opposition. Okay, now let's go to the third type of opposition. This is the diagonal opposition. This is, I can call, like the least famous, or which is the least important as well, because there are many factors which can muddle things up if you get a diagonal opposition. It may be that you have other pieces and you have some, let's say you have white as a bishop, black as a knight, then this opposition is not going to help you that much. However, this type of opposition works excellently well in king and pawn endgames. And in the diagonal opposition, a very amazing thing is, many a times, or in fact in all the positions, the diagonal opposition, it gets converted into either the vertical opposition, or it either gets converted into a horizontal opposition. So for example, right now, if white plays the move king e4, then black is going to play the move king e6, and this has been converted into a vertical opposition. It is white to play and white is at a disadvantage. Similarly, if white plays the move king f5, black can play the move king d5, and now again if you see, this is the horizontal opposition. So moral of the story is, the diagonal opposition, it gets converted into either the vertical opposition or the horizontal opposition, and this is mainly used in king and pawn endgames. If you try to use this in other endgames where there is a bishop, there is a knight, then this is not a very good way to get the opposition. Okay, now you might be wondering, Heramb, all this is great, but how to use it? Because what is this concept of opposition and what are its types? That is all okay, but how do I practically get results with the concept of opposition? So for that, wait for the next video games. So stay tuned for the next video. It will be uploaded next Tuesday as usual. So thank you everyone, and tell me in the comments, how do you feel about the concept of opposition? Thank you. Bye bye.